Welcome to Club Damingo, brought to you by Cyclone Comics.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Stumbling and fumbling.
Fumbling and fumbling. Merry Christmas and all that rot.
And to you. Hey, it's Tuesday, the Tuesday after Christmas. So, yeah, Christmas was good. You were telling me, and I was telling you. So,
That's right. We both survived our Christmases. They were all fairly low-fi with no fist fights and blood noses.
that's right. You know what Anne-Marie's had on the telly recently, and she's just put it on again, another season of it, is a show, an Australian show called The Moodies,
Oh,
Moodys.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Did I tell you about it? Maybe I already told you about it. I don't know. But
No.
um, I think the original season of the Moodies is like 6 years worth of Christmases. So
Oh,
it's like,
God.
and it's very Aussie in that kind of old-fashioned Aussie way. It's a reasonably new show. It would be 10 years old if at that, I'd say.
Yeah, I do
Um,
remember it. Yeah.
yeah. And she just had the follow-up season on just now when I came up, which is not. I don't know if they're doing a similar year by year thing. It doesn't look like it. It's just a more of a soap opera sort of thing. It was
Mm.
really funny, and I couldn't stay and watch it because it was just too like it's one of those things where you go, I can't watch it. It's all falling apart. It's just terrible. They're all going to make the same mistakes, and blah blah blah. So it's really good. It's really well written, very funny,
So does it have
very
a
very
the,
Oz.
the castle vibe to it, or is that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, probably not pushing it quite that far, trying to, but yeah, it's that kind of level of being Aussie sort of thing,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is hard to talk about now because maybe it's like not a politically correct thing to say. Because
Yeah.
one of the things I said to Anne Marie was, is the astounding thing about the show, the bit that I saw, because I didn't watch it, I just saw it every time I walked in the room, was that it was a very white family, like
Mm.
like the extended family were all white, and they weren't ticking any inclusive boxes. And I don't know whether this is because it was pre the need to do that to get the funding or what, but the closest I felt it got to wanting to tick boxes was one of the family members had to come out as gay, and it ended up that uh, their same-sex partner, was Indian or Pakistani or something like that. Like I said, I didn't really watch to know the nuance of it all.
Hmm.
But as far as I could tell, that was like the extent of trying to be diverse or inclusive. And it's weird. It felt like a breath of fresh air, because it just felt like there are lots of families in Sydney, in Australia, that are just extended white families,
Yep. Yeah.
and the tensions don't have to come from cultural boundaries. They can just come from the fact that we all grew up together.
Particularly in Christmas specials.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah. So it's an
Yeah.
interesting show. And so yeah, the episode that I was just watching was at the Yaguna RSL,
Oh,
where they were
right.
having a slap up Chinese meal, for
Yeah, yeah,
somebody's
yeah,
anniversary. And Amber's going, no way, because it's like what our parents would do, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, and
It's funny because it's true.
yeah, exactly. And then they turn the trueness up to 11 to make it a
Yeah,
satire.
yeah.
But yeah, it was so painful to watch. I just had to leave, which means it's really good writing. Because I wanted to stay and watch it all play out. But I know that there's an American version as well. So
Oh,
somebody made an American The Moodies, and it actually has me really interested to see how poorly they would have done it, because
yeah,
it really so much relies on the Australian sense of
yeah, yeah.
operism, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you seen much of the Australian version of The Office?
Again, only a little bit over Anne Marie's shoulder, and I was
Right.
going, nah,
I did
what?
think that they were almost clever in trying to sidestep the comparisons between the other two editions, the big blockbusters, by making the boss a very likable woman.
Hmm.
I haven't seen any full episodes. I've only seen certain scenes,
Yeah.
and they play it that like the Ricky Gervais and the Steve Carell characters were mostly not likable, but had some small redeeming features in spots across the seasons. But
Yeah.
this woman who runs this show or stars in this show is actually quite likable, or tries her best to be liked a lot, and that's the difference that sets it apart from the other ones, from what I
Yeah.
can gather.
Yeah. I'm not so sure about that. The bits I saw, she's just as unlikable because of
Oh,
her
really?
desire to be liked, to be the cool boss. Yeah.
But
It
that's
was
therein lies the humour.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, not that I'd ever sit down and watch it on purpose.
yeah. They're interesting, aren't they, those shows that get transplanted into other cultures or countries or whatever. There's
Yeah,
um, Life on Mars, which is one of my favorite shows, that's been done in several countries, not just America. It's an English show,
yeah,
but has been done in America, but also heaps of European places. The Bridge, which I think we talked about
yeah,
a bit on
yeah.
the show, that's got so many different versions. And I sit there going, yeah, greener pastures. That we could set that in San
In
Francisco. We could set it, yeah,
Bulgaria,
like,
in
just make it in all of the
in
countries. I
Ireland,
don't mind. Just give me the
yeah,
money.
in Tasmania.
Exactly. Yes, we'll have one for every state in the country as well.
Different kinds of
Yeah,
paddock.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Again, a show I've never watched, Ghosts, where a
Oh,
woman and her partner
yeah,
move
yeah.
into a mansion and there's ghosts living there that she can see. And there's an Australian version of it. And I think I don't know, did I have a look to see if there were other um, countries doing it as well? And there probably is as well, because it's
Mm,
easily
yeah, yeah.
translatable. But yeah,
Yep, that's right. Yeah. And then you get those other shows with celebrity traitors that are
yeah,
and all that kind of stuff where you go onto YouTube to see one of the UK ones, and there's all these editions, from Ireland and the States and from
yeah,
India and you name
yeah,
it. And you think, what? Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
how to stretch something out, how to stretch a
Yeah.
concept out.
Amory watched the UK one that was on television recently, and she loved it. She said it was
We
such,
watched it. Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
ending. Did you like it? She said the ending
Yeah,
was incredible.
we watched all of it,
Yeah,
and that's the one with Alan Carr and
yeah,
Stephen Fry, and
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we got sucked into watching all of that. Yeah, we
Oh,
don't particularly want to see any other countries because we know that the UK is probably the best version of the whole
yeah,
thing. It's
exactly.
like last one, LOL, last one laughing,
Laughing. Yeah,
where you got
right.
all these top flight comedians in a room together have to try and make each other laugh.
Yeah, yeah.
And we saw the UK one and that was fantastic. And we thought, oh, well, we'll go the Irish version. And that was sucky. We went to the American one and turned off halfway through. That was sucky. And the Canadian one wasn't much good either. And
Wow.
the UK one was the best. And
Right.
that was really funny.
Yeah, cool. I've never seen it. I've heard it's really good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I
that's
once sat behind a woman in a train, like on the way to work or something, and she was on her phone talking to someone. Very loudly, and so I could hear her whole conversation. It was a pretty empty train, and her whole conversation was all the Big Brothers that she was watching at this moment. So she was totally addicted to Big Brother. This is probably 5 or 10 years ago. I don't know what it's like worldwide now, but she was watching every version of Big Brother as it was happening live across the world. The Indian version,
right.
the
Wow.
UK version, the American version, and going, wow, you really like
Yeah.
addicted to
Yeah.
the format, let alone
Yeah.
I don't know how you would follow all of that. How do
Yeah.
you have time to do anything else? Maybe you don't. Maybe that's your
And,
whole
and
life at this point.
it's funny how some things hit you and you go along for the ride, and some things you just totally miss. Like I don't think I've seen a Big Brother episode at all of anything.
Right.
That
Yeah.
whole phenomena just sort of
Wow. It was a phenomenon when it first
yeah,
started in Australia. It was huge.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
the prize money skyrocketed to I think $1 million in the first few years. Like the winner was getting $1 million, and that was 20 or so years ago. It
Mm,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
wow,
yeah,
$1 million.
it was a big deal. Yeah,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
yeah. So now there's this big trend of the traitors show different versions of traitors.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
We got into a show called The Mole. again
Oh, yeah.
about
Again, I heard
20
of that.
years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was really cool. It was one of the very early reality game show sort of things where
Yeah, yeah.
people are given missions to do, but somewhere in the group of 12, there's a
There's,
plant who's trying to make everyone lose but
uh,
not get caught.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that was really cool. And then when I started, so we got really into it. I don't know how many good seasons there were, maybe only one, maybe two. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's a hard, and I'm pretty sure it was an Australian format that was invented. Anyway, a few years later, I'm working at Kennedy Miller Mitchell on Happy Feet 2, and one of George Miller's assistants is the mole. I said, you were in that show. She's going, yeah, I was. I said, actually, you were the mole. And she goes, yeah, that's right. So somebody who would
You do
probably
call her a
wanted,
mole.
yes, I did. You were the mole,
You're such a
not a
mole.
mole. You were
Whack,
the
slap.
mole. Yeah. So Katrina, she was, I guess somebody who wanted to be in the industry somehow. A lot of the time, it's just if you've ever watched Hard Quiz Kids, like.
Oh, that's
All of those kids just want to be on television. They've all got agents. Yeah. So I guess
some.
Katrina was somebody who wanted to be in the industry, and yeah.
Yeah, some things you can just know is a turd on the footpath that you want to walk around.
So have you not watched Hard Quiz Kids?
Nope.
No, neither had I until the current what's on television now in the Hard Quiz slot is Hard Quiz Kids.
All
Uh,
right.
and and we went, oh, this will be terrible. It's actually really funny. They're pretty good. It's worth having a crack at. Have a look at it.
Right. Okay. On your recommendation, I'll reluctantly try it. I did sit down
I
and
thought it
watch.
was going to be terrible, obnoxious, petulant kids, but it's pretty funny.
Well, I thought the celebrity hard quiz thing that was on recently was going to be dreadful, but it turned out to be quite funny with
Oh, I didn't see that
Carl,
one.
Carl Stefanovic
Yeah, yeah.
and Larry Emder and three was it no two ladies not
Yeah,
Laura Tinkle's mate that was on
the woman who
7:30.
used to do 7:30, right?
Yeah.
And I forget who the other woman was.
She was the
Wasn't
entertainment reporter for Channel 10 or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that was surprisingly funny because they just were ripping shreds of each other. They were just
Oh,
giving as good as
really?
they got. Yeah. And
Okay, cool.
it was good
Oh,
just for that. Yeah.
I might cue that one up. Yeah.
No spoilers. It's just pretty funny. All these strange, like alien networks having a go at each other. They're representing their network.
Yeah,
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, the ad I saw had it billed as the Battle of the Networks.
Yeah.
Remember that back in the 70s, the mid to late 70s, the Battle of the Network Stars, where they would do Olympic events with big television stars.
You're aging yourself there. Aging yourself.
I know. I barely kind of dimly remember that. Yeah.
Celebrity, it's a knockout.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Oh,
yeah. Look, celebrity, it's a knockout. There's Dean Rankin.
He's our most celebritized member at the moment. Would you say
celebritized?
Yeah, made into a celebrity.
Made into a celebrity. Yes. Yeah. He's on my list of shout outs today, actually. We're going to do some shout outs for different things for across the year because the feedback from the kiddies out there has been pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
Would you say minimal?
I would say non-existent. And you get a perfectly good email address, which is clubdamingo@cyclonecomics.com.au. That address again, clubdamingo@cyclonecomics.com.au, and no one uses it.
Yeah.
We haven't even got any spam in there yet.
Right.
But give it time. Yeah.
So we'd have a passive audience. That's fine. They put us on while they're working and don't want to interrupt their workflow or anything like that.
I suppose if it's a difference between them participating in Club Damingo in some way or getting another page of art done, then participating in Club Damingo is the preferred outcome.
Kiddies, you're getting the talking to.
No, another page of finished comics is preferred.
Always.
Yes, always. So that's all I got really is a bit of a rundown of things that I personally think deserve a bit of a shout out for the end of year show.
Rock on.
And you haven't had much time to think yourself. You've been sort of busy doing lots of other stuff during the week.
Yeah, I have. I've got a couple of things if we run out of chat, but yeah, I've been mostly cleaning my scans for the trade paperback, and I've also been cleaning my garage so that we can put a print studio
Oh,
in.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. And that's all just progressing at different,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
different rates.
Yeah, I actually, like, you might remember, I mentioned a few times, and then we were just talking about it before we came on air, that I needed to replace my iMac, which I did a few weeks ago, a month ago or so. Um, and I've got probably one, two, three, four, five, maybe five Macs in the garage. I've probably got every Mac I ever had, nearly every Mac I've ever had, still in the garage.
Yeah.
Most of them still in their boxes. And when they used to be, the iMacs are the first time I've bought this one and the one before, the first time I've bought an all-in-one thing. They've always been the big towers, and they're huge. They've always been huge, and the monitors have been huge. Um, and I've kept them in case I need to plug in a SideQuest drive
Yeah, yeah,
or a
yeah.
zip or I need a zip disk to be read.
Old
Um,
technology.
Super old technology. Almost no one listening or watching today will know what those
Then you have to
technologies
crank
are.
up Quark Express,
Yeah. Oh my God. And yeah.
PageMaker.
And the SideQuest drives were like huge, and they were basically just a removable external drive, but they only had like 128 megabytes on them. It
Yeah.
wasn't, it wasn't even that big. It was like, anyway, so I thought, well, it's time. I can get rid of them. Let's get rid of them. And I rang the Mac Museum in Melbourne, a guy called Matt at the Mac Museum in Melbourne,
Oh,
and he said what I've got wouldn't be worth sending to him. He said what you've got are good, but he said they go through cycles of value. And he
mm.
said the big silver ones you've got are pretty much at the bottom of their cycle. The blue and white one that you've got has come out and is starting to go up. And then he said, but put them on Facebook for $100, be willing to take 50. I'm going, well, that's better than nothing. And then he
Yeah.
sent me a couple of screen caps, and they're actually going for anywhere between 150 and 450. I'm going, what, really? Somebody would buy my blue and white G3, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. Is that the
for
one that we were talking
300.
about earlier? That's the translucent
Yeah,
looking. Yeah, right. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think I had one of those, and then I had one that was the silvery gray one, but still plastic.
yeah, right.
And then I had two of the metal ones. Um, So yeah, they're buried in there in different places.
Yeah, yeah.
But he said I had a monitor. I've got a CRT monitor. It's not real big, but he said they're really hardy. Somebody will buy that in no time. And I'm going,
Right.
wow, really
Yeah.
unbelievable. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Because we were complaining earlier, or I was complaining earlier about the new operating system for Mac with the Liquify design on it that just reminded me of the blue and white Mac design from, let's say, it's the mid 90s, it's in some stage, or late 90s. But
yeah,
they've actually, this Liquify thing is all curved corners and bubble design. And
yeah.
it takes a little bit of getting used to. I uploaded it a couple of days ago and I haven't spent that much time in front of my computer. But yeah, it's sort of made everything look all very retro, not necessarily in a good way.
It's weird, because you sit in front of your Mac all day, every day for years, and you upgrade your systems, and there's only tweaks, there's only small upgrades to the graphic interface. And I think at some point, especially like with the iPhone, at some point you go, well, it just feels like I haven't even bought a new phone. Like, and it cost
Yeah,
me $1,000+. Like, what am
yeah,
I doing?
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why they do it. They need you to feel like the whole thing's new, and it's like, but I don't want all this eye candy distracting me from my work or, yeah. There's a thing on your iPhone that will turn the whole thing black and white if you want it. Every icon just turns to black and white or
No,
yellow or
no.
white.
But again, what phone does that? Because I'm still on iPhone 7.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. The latest, I
So
don't
the
know.
iPhone 7 just is black and white with no switch. It just that's just all.
If you knock it too hard, if you talk too loud, it'll just go black or white.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Technology. Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's a stupid. It's a stupid.
And I can't justify paying. How much do you is a payment plan for a relatively modern phone these days? 1,500 to 2 grand, depending on what you get.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy that my iPhone to replace brand new is going to cost more than my iMac to replace brand new.
I can't
I don't get,
justify it. I
yeah,
mean,
it's weird.
in fact, I don't know what I'm going to do if this keels over or my computer doesn't start up tomorrow morning. I don't have enough funds to replace it, so it's a case of what do I do? It's all too expensive to replace.
Yeah, I've done that though in the past. I've just gone out and bought a secondhand Mac
Yeah,
that's just one better than the one that died, right? Not even like a secondhand of the latest one or just prior to the latest. I go and just get, a pretty cheap one that's slightly better than the one I just had, which is already 7 years old. I've done
yeah,
that a couple of times. Like I've had to get myself out of a hole.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
And
technology.
Annabelle's really good at that. She's bought a couple of iPads for display purposes for her multimedia art, right, to put in a gallery. And she buys them refurbished and they're like dirt cheap and they work great. And the iPhone that she just bought is much better than mine, but it's refurbished and
Yeah,
much
right.
much
Yeah,
cheaper than the one I got. So
yeah. Well, I extended the
there are
life of
ways.
my iPhone by putting a new battery in it myself because there was one that you couldn't crack. You weren't recommended to do it yourself. You had to take it in to get it all
Yeah.
done. And I thought, I can do this. So I bought myself a new battery
Wow.
and I sort of cracked it all open and broke the seal and replaced the battery. And that was 2 or 3 years ago now. So,
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
that's amazing.
But, it's could very well be on its last legs again now, but,
Right. Yeah, yeah. Because
anyway.
it's out of warranty anyway,
Oh,
so crack it open.
exactly. Yeah. Just don't drop it in the bath because there's no seal.
Yeah, right. No seal in your bath?
No, arr. No seal.
So
So
were you gonna like read a list or something? Is that something you said an hour and a half ago?
was it that long ago? It's no, I just made notes on things that we've probably already mentioned across the year, but now that it is the end of the year, the last show of the year, I thought we might do some tipping of the hats to different people and projects across the year that to my mind, if no one's going to email us on Cyclone at clubdamingo at cyclonecomics.com.au, then we'll have to talk about it ourselves.
What's that email address again?
Club Damingo with an A, Damingo at
No,
cyclonecomics.com.au. It's not too late. We can even squeeze people's suggestions in next show.
for the first show of the year.
The first show of the
When's
year.
this one going to go live? Today's New
Tuesday
Year's
the
Eve
30th, Wednesday, Thursday the 1st, the 1st of June.
first.
Yeah.
Wow. Happy New Year, everybody.
That's
How's
right.
your hangover?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No, I didn't drink at all. Went to bed by 7:30. Just
Yeah, that'll be me.
nothing changes. Yeah. Put on a couple of episodes of the Moodies and gave them a bit of a watch.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I hear that you've got a list that you're going to read to us. Is that right?
So we've already mentioned the big Deanster, Dean Rankin.
Yeah.
You know,
Huge goals kicked with great
hardest working man in Australian comics. Would that
pretty close to it?
with his participation in Australian Portrait Artist of the Year and his longevity in that competition for the first season
Yes,
was
indeed.
pretty amazing. But then he's got his death metal emo elves. He's got his Find the Easter Bunny books and all of his other books that he's produced across the year. All of his workshops and con appearances. It's hard to match his pace of work and his exposure left, right, and centre. So
I tend to agree.
yeah,
Amazing. Amazing. And a lovely man. I'm very blessed to have him as a friend.
right. Okay. Yeah. Good. He is a lovely guy, isn't he? And he's got a
Yeah.
mighty beard.
Yes.
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 So I would tip of the hat to Dean for having a pretty work intensive year. He's probably got a huge, just as good year coming up in 2026. But yes,
Okay.
one of the hardest working artists and creators in Australian comics.
Yeah.
What else?
Well done, Dean.
The other one that is worth a tip of the hat to is Rob Spedsy Lyle.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Because I reckon he's had a pretty mighty year with his, to my mind, his two main projects, which was the Free Monkeys book that Ben Sullivan drew and Spedsy wrote.
Mm-hmm.
That was quite good. And Sluggish, which was the 4 issues that finally got finished. And to have a project with a beginning, middle, and end in Australian comics is always good to see. So
That's right.
huge congrats to the 4 issues of Sluggish, which I hope gets collected. But even if it's just in the 4 single issues, a mighty effort and a huge result for Spedsy for last year as well. So tip of the hat to him.
Well done, Rob.
Yeah.
And again, a really lovely guy.
Yep, and he has done lots of other stuff across the year as well as a writer for different projects and different short stories and things like that. But there were the two standouts for me that actually came across my desk was the Sluggish books and the Free Monkeys book as well. So
yeah, cool.
Tip of the hat there. The other mighty show for the year is on 2 fronts. One is Peter Lane for his Skies Cavern Library. I think he's pushed that hard across the last 12 months and it really is proving to be a cornerstone of the comics industry as far as regular issues and more issues and promotional front for the IP as well. So a big tip of the hat to Peter Lane and his efforts on Skies Cavern Library.
If he's not in furlough yet from Antarctic Press, it'll be in the next issue or the one after that.
That's right. Yeah,
international
exposure.
Exposure. Yeah, very good.
And that ties in with Jason Paulos, who's doing a lot of the artwork for Sky's Cavern Library these days. And he's had a mighty year with his work on Sky's Cavern Library and also for The Phantom and the Raven for Fruit Publications. So a tip of the hat to Jason Paulos for having a huge workaholic year on 2 very popular creative properties. Or 3 if you count The Phantom and the Raven as 2 separate ones. And then you got Sky. So
very good.
Very, very busy artist there.
And not surprising out of Jason. That's Jason. He's working constantly.
That's right. Yeah, there's no stopping him. Yeah. And the other one, Bo Jardine and his Nightside project. So that was pretty mighty. He was trying very hard to get the complete 9 issues out in 2025, and it just didn't happen for, I think, the American postage thing sort of tripped them up a little bit when that happened. So that slowed things down a little bit, but they're going to power on into 2026 with issues 8 and 9 of Nightside, which will finish that project. And I know for a fact that he's got a 4-issue Wolfen series coming right up behind that as well. And then he's got a sequel to the Nightside series that he's working on at the moment. So 2026 could be bigger as far as finished published comics than 2025. But to have such a busy 2025, good on you, Bo. Good on you, Kelly, for coordinating that. But good on you, Bo, for having such a issues 1 to 7 out in 2025.
Brilliant.
What else we got? I still haven't received my copy of Pop Culture and 2-Minute Noodles, but I'm sure it's working its way to me. But I'm for myself, I'm pretty safe to sort of call it, from my point of view, that Comic Oz is probably the Australian Publisher of the Year, in my opinion, with the Complete Iron Outlaw coming together and Pop Culture and 2-Minute Noodles, and throw in a couple of Airhawk comics as well, and Comic Oz and Nat Carmichael, as far as digging into Australian comics past and showcasing a lot of stuff that needs to be discovered and represented and protected. He's done an amazing job in 2025. So tip of the hat to Comic Oz and to Nat Carmichael for his efforts, and Jeremy McPherson and the people associated with the designers. Don Ticchio, I know, does some design work for Comic Oz. So all the team involved with the Comic Oz projects, I know that they do very good work. And I'm sure that when I eventually get my Pop Culture and 2-Minute Noodles, that it'll be quite a nice project and production. From what I've seen online with people flicking through the books and doing unboxing and stuff like that, it looks lovely as well. So for me, it's a pretty safe bet to say that that's another winner.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I had a quick look at a preview edition at Scamp, and it looked amazing. So you'll love it when you get it.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone else is in that area where Comic Oz is actually doing the hard yards of getting the old artwork and preserving different projects in the lovely design and format that they do. I don't think there is anyone else really covering that ground of restoring old projects.
No. There was Pussy Willow for a while.
Yeah.
We haven't heard anything from them this year, have we?
Not that I know. I haven't.
Kickstarter? Yeah, I can't remember. Because they did quite a few, one after the other,
Yeah.
reprinting the old Pussy
So
Willow.
maybe they've reached a point where the material is harder to clean up and make presentable, and so the first 5 books was the good stuff, and now they're struggling to get a hold, not struggling, but working
Yeah,
through the process of getting the artwork for those the other stories. I don't know how long it lasted in when it was first being published,
yeah,
so who knows? They may have gone through the back catalogue by now. Who
yeah.
knows?
Could be, could be.
Mm.
That's a lot. That's a lot of strips.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But cool. Yeah, I can't think of anyone else who's really doing too much in the way of archival material like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah,
Mm.
and tying into the pop culture stuff, a big tip of the hat to Dylan Naylor for getting that book out because I know how much work he put into it. And his supplemental issue, I'm looking forward to flicking through as well. That was sent
Yeah,
out with the book, so you don't just get that book. You can, if you order it, you'll get a supplementary floppy copy of supplementary
okay.
material that goes along. Which I'm not sure why it wasn't in the book itself, but there were probably reasons that will be explained once it gets into my hands. I'll be able to find out why. But and 2025 was Dylan Naylor's living legend year as well. So tip of the hat to Dylan for being a living legend because he is. And I was talking to him just the other day on Messenger, and he's got a pretty big 2026 lined up as well. So he just chugs along. There's half a dozen artists that just, like they don't worry about the shit that's going on around them, and they just buckle down and get the work
Yeah,
done. And before you know it, another issue is out, another project is out, and
yeah.
that's the best way of.
That's who I want to be, Gary.
You want to be one of those guys.
Yes, I want to be one of those guys.
Exactly right. Yeah, bypass the shit and get the work done.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Have you got more to do on that list?
But now let's see. I'll just review. Bo Jardine for Nightside, Sluggish and Free Monkeys for Spedsy, Sky's Cavern Library for Peter Lane, The Raven and Sky for Jason Paulos, Dean Rankin, he's just everywhere, Comic Oz for The Complete Iron Outlaw and Pop Culture and 2 Minute Noodles and a few Airhawk comics, and Dylan Naylor for just being a living legend.
Yes, great, fantastic. Because yes, hats off.
Yeah.
Taking all my hats off.
See, I've been taking all my hats off, and now my toupee's gone.
I was going to say you've got your summer do finally. Now that we're heading into January,
That's right.
your summer do on, fantastic. Because
And
it finally warmed up in the map of Tassie.
we had our summer yesterday. It's now back to being mild again outside, but yesterday was quite hot.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We were this close to heading down to the beach, and we didn't because it was too hot. So I lay in the corridor with the animals and got a cool breeze running over my body.
That was good enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you mentioned like there is like this level of or this group of creators who just put things out and just one after the other things just continue to happen.
Yeah. Queenie Chan's another one that is just
absolutely man, oh man,
yeah.
So the other thing that you and I kind of texted each other about here and there over the week was the comic book virus documentary series that Clint Pure
yeah.
What was that, like the late 90s, which is still on YouTube, which was it Gary Della, I think, reminded me of on Facebook.
Neil Blandon.
Was it Neil Blandon who posted
I think that's where I bumped into it because he was featured in the thing.
Yes.
I think he was just saying, "Hey, I'm in this."
So anyway, one of those guys on Facebook kind of said, "There's this. If no one's ever watched it, so if you haven't watched it, kiddies, just search YouTube for Comic Book Virus, and there's 2 seasons, or I think there's one playlist. Anyway, there's only like 7 short episodes there, and boy, are they interesting. Like especially for somebody who was there, and then looking at it, going, how many of these people are still either creative, full stop, or B, are they still making comics, and at what level?
Yeah. And this is a Melbourne-centric series, isn't it?
It was it was. I would have said that that's part of where the money came from, is that you had to talk about Melbourne people.
Yeah.
They talked to Sam. Is it Sam Wallman? No, not Sam Wallman. The person who does Megan Mogg. They were talking to them.
Oh, Hanselman.
Hanselman, that's it. Yeah. They were talking to Hanselman and
Simon Hanselman.
Simon Hanselman, and that they talked about the Melbourne aspect of it to quite a bit of an extent. So that's where I was going. Oh, yeah, it's probably where the funding came from was,
Right.
yeah. And so that was from an episode that looked back at people from the first season. So that was a good 5 to 10, maybe more years later, where people were looking back at their interviews from the first. Did you watch it all yet? Have you
No,
watched it
I
all?
haven't seen that.
Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. I'm
It's
sitting
good.
here like touching up the artwork in Photoshop, so I've just got stuff like that running.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
so yeah, Neil Blandon was in that, and Michael Ficaris, who's a Platinum Ledger winner, and so good to see him as this really fresh-faced kind of guy doing his comics, and then in the whatever it was 10, 20 years later version, which is the Ficaris that I know, where he started the Silent Army and the reading room and all of that, and talking about that and looking at himself back, in the video. So it's actually, as a time capsule, extraordinarily good. A little bit disappointed that if you read the notes in YouTube, Clint Cure writes that it was longer, but I cut it down for several reasons. I'm going, well, what have you cut? Like, what did you cut out of this?
Yeah,
So
right.
whatever went to air on community television was maybe slightly longer, maybe quite a bit longer than what we've got on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's very like 90s, video,
Yep.
DIY video. So it's great viewing. So watch that and see if there are names there that you still know. But for a lot of the kiddies watching at home now, they possibly don't recognize maybe any of the names other than Hanselman. But for people who've been around for a long time and people who are still like in the mini comic scene, like Neil Landon, etc., most of the names are going to be quite recognizable.
And Dylan would be in there. Dylan Naylor, he would have been.
Dylan is interviewed talking
Yeah.
about dribble,
Drivel.
dribble,
Yeah.
yeah.
Drivel, not drivel. Drivel with a D.
Whichever one it was. Yeah, talking about Darren and the show bag stuff, and then trying to do something a little bit more adult oriented, and so yeah, really interesting time capsule of
Oh,
history.
I got to jump in. Yeah, got to jump in.
Mhm. Yeah. I
That's quite
downloaded the lot in case they disappear from Facebook as well, from YouTube.
Yeah.
Want a copy of that. It's really, really, really cool stuff. So yeah, comic
And
book
there
virus.
should be more of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where was Clint that you know of with his latest project with the issue one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. I was interviewed for that years ago, and he'd already been working on it for, I think, a few years already. So Clint Cure, who did, was it Comic Book Messiah? Was that the whole name, or was it? He did a few mini comics, really, really cool, kind of Vaughn Baudet sort of
Mhm.
influence style, but really cool. I loved his work. But he's also like a teacher at technical colleges, but he's also a filmmaker. He makes short films and docos, etc. So he started doing a documentary about issue one comics from the mid 90s,
Yeah.
early to mid 90s, by that Sam Young started, and then created a group with Stuart Hale and Ant Larkham and a bunch of other guys, including myself. So the issue one comics. So there was issue one, which was an anthology, which mostly starred Cyber Swine and Zero Assassin, and then they split off into their own things. And Clint wanted to do the documentary on that because, again, it's very zeitgeist for the time, very lightning rod. There was a lot going on around issue one comics because of issue one comics, but he felt definitely that the documentary's life as it came to life was much more about where is Sam Young. That was actually the central question of the documentary, because Sam Young, who was the figure in Australian comics for a while. Would you agree? Like, because I know you were still making comics at the time, and so were
Yeah.
Lumsden.
There'd be at least a dozen creatives floating around the issue one brand at one stage, if not more. Some more invested than others, but Yeah, certainly it was a lightning rod, as you say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So this really big, large figure in Australian comics, and then just disappeared, or mostly disappeared. And there was,
Mostly because he has been seen, hasn't he? Didn't you see him at a wedding or a funeral once?
oh no, that was Sexton saw him at a
Oh,
funeral and
oh,
relayed that story to me, which I've relayed to you.
yeah, yeah.
And and yeah, like people would just run into him here or there, and there was talk about cryptocurrency and all this weird stuff. It's actually a really good story, which I've only got snippets of through my own uh, um,
Network, intelligence network.
experience. Well, no, through my own experience as
Oh,
well.
okay.
And then, yeah, people explaining what it was that actually I had seen, and then, yeah, other people's anecdotes, and then what Clint was finding out. So, yeah, the story of where is Sam Young could also be who is Sam Young, and whatever happened to Sam Young. Maybe that was the title he was looking at. Whatever happened to Sam Young,
Right.
which he's trying to get funding. He was trying to get funding from SBS or ABC or whatever to properly make it. And even if it was just, if it went to free to air television like that with the title, whatever happened to Sam Young, people would go, "Oh, what's that about?" Like, I don't even know who Sam Young is. People, 99.9% of the public would say, but what's why should I wonder whatever happened to Sam Young? And then they'd
Yeah,
start watching.
yeah.
So yeah, it was. So I don't know what's happened. Your question was what's happening with that? I don't know. Maybe if I remember, I'll text Clint and say what is happening, because we talk about that every so often on the show. Um, so yeah, Clint Cure, who made the comic book virus, you can see, especially in the early version of comic book virus versus the later version, the difference in Clint as well, being this really wild, um, you know, DIY doco maker to somebody who's trying to be a little bit more serious in the second one, and then what he's doing.
Smoking a pipe.
Yeah, not quite.
Smoking a.
Yeah, not quite.
So how do you approach your artwork?
So yeah, it's all very interesting, that
Yeah.
kind of historical.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. We're going to have to watch the clock, because at 12 o'clock there's a Vito X Dino that goes live at midday today that I wouldn't mind catching.
Okay, and it's Dean Haspiel and
Vito Del Sante.
Del Santos
Yeah.
in New York.
Well, one's in Brooklyn and the other one is in Philadelphia somewhere, I think.
Oh,
but Vito's relocated. He's not in New York anymore, although they're both, New Yorkers in their blood. So, and they do a podcast very similar to this one, where they just yabber at each other and let time pass.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have guests on, which we don't do, but it's a cousin brother show to us. Just do a search for Vito X Dino, and they're up to their 50th show today. So
congratulations.
we're a little bit behind them. We're going to have to go a bit faster to catch up.
Yeah, we'll have to kneecap them so they can miss a few weeks so we can catch up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say one other person like that I would add to your list of people who are like kicking goals. And this is a guy that we've mentioned briefly on the show, but most people I think in Australian comics have no idea about. And it's Aldous Massey. And he's done a comic, two really thick volumes of a comic called Sea Parlor, Seepala, Sea Parlor, which he self-published. And it's very kind of new agey kind of I don't know what it almost feels like a very kind of calm and centered version of the Avatar movies, the blue skin ones, right? In that it's obviously not our world, but it's like a forested thing with very very kind of new age third eye sort of things going on, but also it's spears and I should have thought this through a bit better how to explain it, but it's a really interesting looking book, and I haven't bought it because it's too expensive the way that Aldous too expensive for me. Other people have bought it. The way that Aldous has self-published it, because they're really thick. I can understand why it's
Right.
expensive. I kind of kept on saying, when I've got some money, I'll buy it. And there are times where I probably had some money and I probably should have bought it. Um, but uh, but I don't know how much of this, because we have messaged each other a few times on Instagram. So I don't know how much of this is for public knowledge yet. But I know that he's looking at a publisher who's going to be able to publish it at a much more affordable price. So when that happens, I think everybody should buy it, even if it's not, at least the first volume, to see if you like it enough.
Right.
So it's huge.
What's his name again?
Aldous Massey. So that's Aldous Massie, Aldous Massey. You look him up on Instagram, and I actually implore you to do that today. Oh no, the story will be gone by the time people see this on New Year's Day. But it's worth watching and looking at his stories, because the other thing he's doing, he's taking this massive 2-volume C Parler and he is animating it. He's making an animated feature film.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he's living. He's originally from Australia, or lived in Australia for a large amount of time. I don't really know his life story. And now he's in, I don't know, Bali or Thailand or Indonesia or somewhere, I don't know, in Southeast Asia. I don't pay enough attention to that kind of detail, but I know he's living somewhere like that at the moment. And I thought that he'd moved there to get a cheaper labor to make the animated film. I thought he was working with someone.
Ah, yeah, right.
But from what I can tell, and again, I haven't asked him outright yet, because I don't want to be, putting this in his face, I guess. But from what I can tell now, is he's animating it himself. Every single frame, he's doing it himself, frame by frame, hand drawn, digitally hand drawn. And it's like he again is one of these really inspirational people who can bench press twice his body weight, and goes, indoor climbing, and can hang, by one hand while he's climbing, etc. So he's
and feels his way through cobwebs.
Yes, that's right. He's like crazy like that. But he's also getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or whatever it is, 5 o'clock in the morning, to get 30 seconds or 1 second worth of animation done. And every day he's just chipping away at this. Now that he's created this two-tome book, he's now chipping away in a similar fashion at this amazing looking piece of animation.
Ah, good on him. Yes.
So when I was in Adelaide for Paper Cuts, and Wild North Comics did the screening of Australian comics that are now in some sort of animation or live action, which included the Greener Pastures short film, a snippet of that. We showed a bit of C Parler at that.
Right.
I think that was the first time anyone had really seen too much of that in cinema like that anyway.
Yeah.
Looks amazing. It's obviously a philosophical piece of work. Maybe that's a word I was trying to find earlier, with this new age philosophical kind of outlook, while still being very grassroots and understanding our connection to nature and the universe. And he's got, was it like 20,000 followers or something like that on Instagram, and people are getting tattoos. So it's obviously really hit a good nerve with a lot of people. So he's someone I think to look at and support, at least with your eyeballs and your follows, I guess. Yeah. He seems like a lovely guy as well. So yeah.
I'm waiting for the first person to send us photos of tattoos of you and me, a Club Damingo tattoo on a calf or something like that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
When we get up to the 20,000 viewers mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if Dean Rankin's going to do that again. Isn't that like a summer project that he does? He does like a thread on Facebook where if you suggest a tattoo and he designs it for you, you have to get it. Which Samuel once suggested and got designed but didn't get, because he's
fail.
Yes. But that was was it of me and Anne Marie? Like, I think he got a tattoo of like a drawing of me and Anne Marie, and then pretended to have it tattooed on him. So yes, we're looking for Gazza and Timbo tattoos.
It ain't gonna happen, huh?
Timbo and Tazza.
It ain't gonna happen. And do they reference me with or without hair?
Well, there's hair. There's
Oh,
plenty.
yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway,
Uh,
the other thing that I noticed or bumped into during the week was the Ink Pulp podcast.
oh
Had
yes.
Rob Liefeld on as a guest on their most recent show. I think show number 270 at a guess. Anyway, it's
Wow.
easy enough to find. And yeah, he was bemoaning the plight of modern Marvel comics. And he used as an example of when they were in their prime and cutting edge, the Warriors of the Shadow Realm book, that the 3-issue series that Peter Ledger airbrushed. And so he did a bit of a tip of the hat and heads up for Peter Ledger and John Buscema. And he didn't mention Rudy Nebrez, but it was Peter Ledger's layouts and pencils, and Rudy Nebrez finished it, and Peter Ledger coloured it, and so that was a 3-person team that was
Oh,
on.
I think you meant John Buscema did layouts and pencils.
Yeah, who did I say?
You said Ledger. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay, sorry,
John
John
Buscema
Buscema. Yeah,
did the pencils. Nebrez did the inks, and
yeah,
then yeah, Ledger did like full color airbrushed art,
yeah,
coloring over the top of it. Yeah,
yeah. So Liefeld was using that as an example of what happened to Marvel when they were doing these kind of projects with
yeah,
gatefold, fold out, triple spreads of and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah. And
that's what.
again, it's been enough years since the Ledger Awards changed from the Ledgers to the Cars, that maybe people don't even know why we called it the Ledgers in the first place. So you named them the Ledgers because you were looking for a name of an Australian pioneer in comics that might be a good name to put on
To
the
represent,
award.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
thought his pathway from being an Australian designer and illustrator, doing stuff for the papers and doing stuff for surf magazines and having a high profile album covers and things like that,
yeah,
a profile that I actually bumped into and followed. And then he went overseas and started working for Marvel. And I thought, oh, wow, that's what I want to do.
yeah,
So, and this, I didn't know him from a bar of soap. I didn't have any contact with him because I know there are certain people that thought that he was quite pig-headed and quite egotistical and stuff like that. But to me, that was besides the point. Of he was following a career path that I wanted to follow as well. So he was very much an inspiration for me. Whether he was an asshole or not is besides the point.
that's right.
Yeah,
Sometimes that's just the way it is.
that's
So
just the way
yeah,
it is.
that was our Peter Ledger. Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
So
I actually saw a piece of his artwork the other day. What was I looking for? I was checking to see what I have of Greener Pastures back issues in a short box. And there was an A5 program from, I think they called it Comic Con 3 from like 1978 or something
yeah,
crazy
right.
like that.
Okay. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
those really, really old original Comic Cons. They had two in Melbourne and then they had one in Sydney. And most of the time, those programs would list what was happening at the convention, but also would just have page after page of artwork drawn for saying "Have a great con," that kind of thing. And there was a Peter Ledger piece in that
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it keeps on popping up left, right, and centre.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
And of course, he featured in a couple of Richard Ray projects from back in the early '80s as well. And
yeah,
so his name kept on popping up in my life as someone who's actually doing it and making it, and it was a big inspiration at the time for
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
Plus, just to play on words of like the award system, giving names and putting down or marking the importance in a ledger of
Yeah,
achievement across the year.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
just thought, oh, even if you don't know who Peter Ledger is as an artist or a creator,
yeah.
it still is a nice, terminology to have hanging off the awards and representing
Mm,
that. So, yeah.
indeed.
Mm.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, yeah,
So, but the Ink Pulp podcast is always good to follow. You put me onto
yeah,
them, and they're fun guys to listen to if you need something to listen to in the background. Well, that's not Club Domingo; it's something else. So,
yeah, yeah.
mm,
No, I've been working my way like I'm listening to a whole bunch of different things, trying to not just have one voice at me the whole time.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, that's in that mix, the Ink Pulp, and I don't listen to every episode that they do, just the ones that seem to be
and
relevant.
Liefeld is an acquired taste as well. It can be pretty too full on all the time. So,
I've never watched his what does he call them? Robservations
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
Have you
yeah.
ever watched that? I've never
Yeah,
watched.
I have listened to it fairly faithfully over the years,
All right.
and
Is
yeah,
there anything in there of relevance to you and I as creators, though, or as self-publishers? Like, does it help at all, or is it just interesting because Rob Liefeld is saying all these wacky things?
yeah, maybe not so helpful, just entertaining.
Yeah, right.
But at the end of the day, there's only so much of him that a lot of people can take.
Yeah,
Because he's very, you either love him or hate him,
yeah, yeah.
And I was curious to, I've watched a couple of flick throughs with his the new Youngblood comic that he's released, and he's up to about the third issue at the moment.
All
And
right.
there's so I've read the issue based on YouTube videos where they've just turned the page and gone, oh, look at this arm, look at this leg, and look at this. And have we seen the bad guy yet? I mean, these guys have really deconstructed the first issue and the second issue of the new Youngblood series. And boy, oh boy, don't want to say anything negative, so we should talk about something else.
Okay. Got it. Rightio then.
All I can say is high praise for any colorist that can do that to Rob Liefeld artwork.
Yeah, right on. Okay, gotcha.
But you can't
Look,
take away
again,
his
I'm not.
success, though. You can't take away his success.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I'm
And
not. I'm not a fan of his work. I'm not a fan of most of what was going on with that kind of group of guys anyway at the time, and which is fine. There's no need to like. It's not like I'm denigrating it, but just not really a fan of it. But is he? Do you reckon that on a spectrum of when Rob might have first started, where he was maybe a little bit more considerate of trying to be anatomically accurate versus where he got to when he was at the height of his fame and like being very Liefeld in his art style. Is that continuing? Do we just need to wait until Liefeld like actually breaks through to being a little bit more abstract, and then it's actually an interesting thing to
oh
look at?
man, that is so hard to unpack. It really is, because he's the Youngblood art that he's doing now is different to what he was doing back in the day.
Right,
I can't honestly say that it's any better. It's
right,
just different because he's using different tools, and he's approaching things. He still doesn't do any backgrounds, or not enough backgrounds to tell the story properly.
right.
There are it's too hard to go. Don't want the show to go into a bashing Liefeld thing because it's
Yeah, no,
also
no. Yeah,
you either love that stuff and get off on it, or you don't.
yeah,
So,
fair enough.
yeah. So the
Yeah,
less
cool.
said by me as a pylon, I think you know which way I'm coloured as far as this argument is concerned. But it's just interesting that other people have noticed what I've noticed as well. So a different art approach, but not necessarily a better art approach.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But that thing rings certain bells for certain people who are nostalgia and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and he's a marketing beast. He knows how to sell himself, and people keep on throwing money at him. So more
yeah.
power to him.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Totally. Again, one of those people who were part of an extraordinarily important point of comic book history and
Yeah.
changed everything, and you can't take that away from him. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and I give him mega brownie points for surviving the shit that gets hurled at him on a week to week, month to month basis, and he just weathered it. And he's what is the best form of revenge is success.
Yeah.
And
And he still makes comics. So many people just stopped making comics. Like,
yeah,
even people who were really successful at that time took their money and left. And, so
yeah.
yeah, interesting.
And his knowledge of the inside workings of Marvel in particular is very good to have in the back of your own mind. Of if they could do this to someone like Liefeld or Liefeld's contemporaries, then Marvel as a corporation, as they get more corporatized, can do this to other creators as well.
Mm.
So the conversations he has or opinions he has about Marvel and why they may be, failing at the moment, or when DC is succeeding, is very good insider information that any young creator who wants to work for those companies down the track should keep in mind.
Mm. Mm. Does that echo the similar things that Colleen Doran, who I haven't read the latest couple of Substacks from her, but she has in the past, talked about this as well, saying
Yeah.
just because you've done even a successful run on Batman, like
Uh,
Nobody cares. The company certainly doesn't care.
that's
And,
right.
is that going to parlay into continuing success?
Yeah,
Not necessarily. And
yeah,
is
yeah.
that the kind of thing that he's talking about as well? Yeah, right.
Yep, yep, yep. Plus,
Interesting.
his solutions to the problems that Marvel and DC are having at the moment are quite interesting. That chances are, yeah, his solutions are worth a run up the flagpole. They could very well, work for Marvel, but I can't see Marvel as a corporation changing their direction too much into the near future. Although, sales have been fairly rocky from what I can gather or what I've been told. I'm no expert. I don't read Marvel much, if at all, anymore.
Mm.
So, when you get someone as outspoken as Liefeld, who's in a position where he can say what he wants with relative impunity because he has his armor on, I think you ignore what he has to say at your peril.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he can say what he feels like saying because he's made his money, and even if nothing ever sells ever again, he can probably still make comics for the rest of his life at a loss and still be
Yep.
happy.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So he is talking from a position of safety, but still, it doesn't mean that it's not something that should be listened to, or at least have in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's definitely one of the ink pulp episodes that I'll queue up to watch.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Liefeld, like I'm sure that again, the guys who run ink pulp, very engaging to listen to. They're very good to listen to. So yeah,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
cool, cool.
Okay. Well, is that enough for this week?
I reckon. I was gonna. Well, I'll quickly do this. I've said it a number of times. I've been cleaning up the garage to create a studio. Look what surfaced
Oh, I remember
in
that.
Anne
Yeah.
Marie's collection of shit.
Wow.
So a platinum grit
Nice.
T-shirt, Beach Patrol, which I don't know. There's two of them here, and I would say probably one of them was mine, and I was just too embarrassed to ever wear something that said Beach Patrol, but
Oh,
I wanted a T-shirt. So I don't know if I'll end up selling that. So I've got two Beach Patrol T-shirts, which is incredible. And why I've got like an extra large, I'm pretty sure that they probably just said, "Oh, we're not going to sell it, just take it." An extra large platinum grit
nice. Oh,
double-sided
that's lovely.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody wants it, contact me and tell me how much money you're going to give me because I'm not getting it. It's got some marks on it from being in a box. It's got
Yeah.
some marks,
Yeah.
but I've just put some other T-shirts through the wash and the marks came out.
Mm.
Um, and maybe we'll talk about this next week. But
1996.
I found a diary from 1996,
Man.
which again, like the comic book virus, uh, is a really cool little time capsule of what the hell I was doing in 1996.
I've got one. I've got a
Um,
whole swag of those as well. Yeah.
yeah,
Work diaries.
they're great. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
stuff in there that would be worth having a chat
I
about.
might do that next show.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, or
Mm.
not, whatever.
Or not. Hey, yeah, you're not the boss of me.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. So look, I can smell brand new, freshly baked banana cake coming up the stairs from the kitchen. We had two bananas that were far too ripe to eat, and Amory
You
said,
said fart. You said fart.
I'm going to be farting the sweetest banana cake farts you've ever had in
Yeah.
about 20 minutes time because I'm going to go down there and get a slice of that while it's super fresh. World's best cake, not just world's best banana cake, world's best cake.
That's a big call.
It is. Come on over.
Save me a piece. Ship it down.
Yep.
Yeah. And so
Was
what's
it
the
on one of the what is not Sydney to surf? Sydney the Hobarts. Were you out there? Did you watch the
uh,
boats come in yesterday?
it's too close to sport for my liking.
That's right.
Yeah. What's the motto for 2026? More comics more often.
More comics more often.
Momentum.
Make your farts smell as sweet as banana cake. I think that's the motto.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah. No, more comics more often. Oh my God, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. Wave to the kiddies.
See you, kids.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy 2026. Let's make some comics.
Yeah.
What the hell, Gary? What am I doing back here?
Shh.
I know you had a plan. You just told me what the plan was. A very smooth entry back into this, and I wasn't going to let that.
Tim, we've forgotten someone.
What? Who? What? We forgot somebody?
We forgot to mention Louie.
God, it's not we. It was your list. I didn't forget Louie. I was sitting here the whole time going, "There's Louie Joyce. I love Louie Joyce. Louie's been very impressive all year. I think
He's
he's
been
fantastic."
very, very, out of all the artists, he's the most impressive. Most impressive.
Oh my God. Don't turn me into trouble. Why haven't you mentioned Louie? I'm sitting here going, but anyway, it's your list. If you don't want to mention Louie, that's all fine with me.
Well, I think we've just currently mentioned Louie a hell of a lot in the last 30 seconds. So I think that'll do. But no, he's had a massive year with his Godzilla
Incredible.
Skate or Die. And then he's doing some covers for Ninja Turtles, for Tales Thereof.
He's doing the whole book for Turtles. He's doing periods. Yeah,
Is he?
He has grabbed like the biggest monster in the world and wrestled it to the ground at Port Kembla, and then once he's kicked that lizard in the balls, he's walked over to the four turtles and said, "You're coming with me." And
it's a reptile thing, isn't it?
it is a reptile thing. No, it's incredible. I'm so pleased for him. It couldn't be better. It's great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, right. Yeah. Well, that's all I wanted to say. Really was let's not forget Louie. He's had a mighty monster of a year.
He has, absolutely.
And no doubt he'll have a monster 2026.
Absolutely.
So, have you forgotten any? Oh, it's my list, isn't it? Have you got a list?
See, this is why I don't make lists and I don't make homework, because then I end up having to ring you in the middle of the night to say, why haven't we talked about Louie Joyce or John Smith or whoever?
I love his work.
John Smith.
Yeah. You don't see much of it anymore. It's hard to track down.
It is.
Anyway, all right. Sorry for interrupting. I think the end of the show can happen now.
Yeah, good. Okay.
So we're not going to wave goodbye to the kiddies. Well, I'll just cut off. I'll just do a sharp edit.
Halfway through one of my sentences.